He didn't lose you. He lost access to you. He lost the version of you who tolerated his uncertainty. He lost the softness he mistook for weakness. He lost the consistency he kept taking for granted. And here's the truth he won't admit. He never expected you to walk away. Not because you couldn't, but because you kept choosing him long after he stopped choosing you. But every heart has a breaking point, even the strongest ones. And the moment you reached yours, everything changed. He didn't lose you. He lost the privilege of being close to you. Because access to you was never a right. It was a responsibility. One he didn't respect. One he didn't protect. One he didn't value. You showed up with your whole heart. He showed up with his convenient moments. You gave presents. He gave excuses. You offered clarity. He offered confusion. And confusion is not love. It's manipulation dressed as uncertainty. You kept trying. You kept believing. You kept hoping he'd rise to the level your soul needed. But he didn't rise. He repeated. Same patterns. Same distance. Same inconsistency. Until you finally realized something powerful. Your loyalty had turned into self-abandonment. You were saving a relationship. That wasn't saving you. You were pouring into someone who was only holding out their hands when they were empty and disappearing when they were full. They didn't lose you. They lost the version of you who accepted that, the version who swallowed pain just to keep the connection alive, the version who tried to understand what he refused to explain, the version who gave chance after chance after chance until you ran out of pieces of yourself to hand over. When you walked away, you didn't create distance. You restored balance. You stopped chasing. You stopped fixing. You stopped negotiating for love with someone who didn't know how to give it. He thought you'd stay forever, but he forgot something. Even the strongest woman breaks when she's consistently overlooked. And when she breaks, she doesn't fall apart. She wakes up. That's what happened to you. You woke up. You saw the breadcrumbs. You saw the bare minimum. You saw the emotional laziness he tried to disguise as just who I am. You realized you can't build a future with someone who doesn't even show up in the present. So you took back your heart, your energy, your time, your access. And the moment you did, he felt the shift, not because he lost you, but because he lost the version of himself he got to be when you were still giving. Your presence elevated him. Your love softened him. Your patience protected him. He never understood that being loved by you was a privilege, and privileges get revoked when they're abused. So now he sits with the silence he created. He feels the distance he once ignored. He feels the absence of the woman who made his life feel easier without asking for anything in return. He didn't lose you. He lost the future he could have had with you. The stability, the loyalty, the emotional home you were building for two. All gone. Because access is earned, not assumed. You didn't change. You didn't become cold. You didn't become distant. You simply stopped offering what he never learned not to misuse. There is a shift that happens inside you when you finally understand your worth. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not a performance. It's clarity, pure, quiet, clean, final. And that clarity is the moment he loses access. Because access to you was never a right. It was a privilege he burned through. One dismissive comment at a time. One broken promise at a time. One, I'll do better, followed by no change at a time. When a woman gives, she gives deeply. She gives instinctively. She gives emotionally. She gives spiritually. She gives in ways a man often doesn't realize until she stops. And that's the part He didn't understand. You weren't asking for much. You were asking for effort, consistency, presence. A man who wanted to grow, instead of a man who wanted room to stay the same. But here's the truth. Most men don't understand until it's too late. A woman may stay through disappointment. She may stay through confusion. She may stay through discomfort. But she never stays through emotional starvation. That's what he never understood. You weren't difficult. You were hungry for what you were giving him. Respect, effort, loyalty, safety, support, affection, maturity, things he tasted daily, but didn't know how to return. And when you stop giving, everything changes. Because the moment you withdraw your energy, he feels the void he thought would never come. He feels the silence. He feels the distance. He feels the absence of your warmth in places he didn't realize. You kept warm for him. That's when he finally notices your patterns, how you used to check on him, how you used to make time for him, how you used to reassure him, how you used to uplift him, how you used to soften the parts of him he didn't know how to soothe. Now he feels the stark difference. He feels the weight of your absence every time he reaches for a comfort you used to provide. Because here's the truth. A woman's consistency is invisible until it stops. He didn't lose you. He lost your patience, your willingness, your softness, your belief in him, your emotional labor, your late night reassurance, your unconditional effort, your second chances, your gentle reminders, your presence, your steady love. He lost what made him feel whole without ever knowing he relied on it. And now, for the first time, he has to sit with what he created, not what you created, not what you made up, not what you imagined, but what he built through neglect, carelessness, and emotional avoidance. Most men think losing a woman happens in one moment: a breakup, a fight, a final message, a blocked number. But losing a woman happens quietly, gradually, internally, in the places he didn't bother to see. It happens the first time he dismisses your feelings. The second time, he invalidates your needs. The third time, he chooses comfort over effort. The 10th time, he assumes you'll always be there. By the time he realizes you're gone, you left emotionally, long before you left physically. Because a woman doesn't leave when she's angry. She leaves when she's numb, when she has nothing left to give, when she's finally done explaining, proving, showing, teaching, hoping. And that's the loss he can't repair. Not losing you, losing who he was when he had access to you. Because access to you made him better. He was calmer. He was steadier. He felt supported. He felt seen. He felt chosen. He felt believed in. He felt held by something he didn't even know how to name. Now, he feels the emotional consequences of his own neglect. He feels the reality of a life without the woman who held it all together. Here's the shift. A man doesn't regret losing you. He regrets losing access to the version of himself he was when he had you. Your love brought out his potential. Your softness softened him. Your patience gave him space. Your loyalty made him feel secure. Your care made him feel worthy. Your presence made him feel significant. He didn't appreciate it then because he assumed it was permanent. He assumed your effort was his entitlement. He assumed your emotional labor was included in the relationship package. He assumed you'd always stay because you always had. But women don't leave because they stopped loving. Women leave because they stopped feeling safe in the love They were giving. And now that he's outside your life, he's forced to confront the truth he avoided. You weren't asking for too much. You were giving too much to someone who gave too little. Now he sees the difference between a woman who cares and a woman who tolerates. You cared deeply, fully, selflessly. He tolerated that care without ever matching it until the day you walked away. And now the contrast is brutal because the absence of a woman's love reveals a truth men don't learn until they have to. You were not replaceable. You were foundational. You were not dramatic. You were expressive. You were not needy. You were emotionally connected. You were not asking too much. You were asking for reciprocity. And now he's left with the life he built through his own laziness. You didn't punish him. You didn't retaliate. You didn't even try to make him regret it. You simply stopped feeding what wasn't feeding you. And that was enough to collapse everything. Because when you step back, you don't just remove your presence. You remove your influence, your care, your belief, your support, your emotional generosity, your depth, your intuition, your loyalty, your understanding, your gentleness. You remove the ecosystem that kept him emotionally alive. And only then does he finally understand. You were the stability. You were the warmth. You were the anchor. You were the safe place. You were the home. You were the thing he thought he'd never lose. But here's what he never expected. You woke up one day and realized he wasn't losing you. He was losing access to a level of love he wasn't ready to receive. And once that access is gone, it doesn't come back. Because a woman who rebuilds herself never returns to the place that broke her. He didn't lose you. He lost access to the parts of you he never deserved. In the first place, when you close the door, it stays closed. When you detach cleanly. When you move forward, you don't look back. And that's what hurts him most. Not that you left, but that you finally realized your value without needing him to validate it. He can miss you. He can want you. He can regret everything. He can replay the past. He can whisper apologies you'll never hear. He can promise change you'll never see. But access, that's gone. And once a woman knows her worth, there is no key that can open the door she already walked through. A woman doesn't need to announce that she's done. She simply moves differently. She breathes differently. She thinks differently. Her standards rise. Her tolerance drops. Her clarity sharpens. And the man who once took her for granted starts to feel something he didn't expect. Powerless. Because the most dangerous version of a woman is the one who no longer needs the person she once begged to be present. At first, he doesn't notice it. He thinks it's mood, stress, busyness, a phase. He assumes she'll bounce back. She always did. But this time, you didn't bounce back. You outgrew back. He didn't lose you. He lost the version of you. That thought losing him would destroy her. And that version, she's gone. Gone in a way that no apology can resurrect. Gone in a way that no nostalgia can revive. Gone in a way that no memory can reattach. Because the healing version of you doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't convince, doesn't over-explain, doesn't carry the emotional load alone. The healing version of you speaks softly, but walks loudly. And here's what hurts him most. He sees it. He feels it. He recognizes the difference. He notices the shift. He watches the slow removal of your energy from his life. And yet, he can't stop it. He thought you would always be available. Always be patient. Always be soft. Always be willing to fix what he kept breaking. He thought your love was endless. It wasn't. It was overflowing. And he mistook it for permanent. Now he sees you doing something terrifying. You're choosing yourself. You're breaking cycles. Instead of repeating them, you're listening to your intuition. Instead of his excuses, you're following your peace. Instead of your fears, you're setting boundaries. Instead of swallowing hurt, he's witnessing a woman he underestimated become a woman he no longer has access to. That's the shift. That's the loss. That's the gut punch. Not losing you, but losing the power to make you doubt yourself. Because a woman who finally understands her value stops negotiating it, stops shrinking it, stops discounting it, stops offering it to someone who mismanages it. And here's the twist. He knows he can't get that version of you back. He may try. He may reach out. He may test your boundaries. He may reappear with sweet words and vague promises. But he knows, deep down you don't fall for the same chapter twice. He used to rely on your empathy. Now he's confronted with your evolution. He used to rely on your softness. Now he's confronted with your strength. He used to rely on your fear of losing him. Now he's confronted with your fearlessness in walking away. And that's the real loss. Not losing your love, losing your dependence. A man never understands the emotional economy of a woman until she stops investing. He thought your loyalty was unconditional. He thought your effort was guaranteed. He thought your affection was automatic. He thought your availability was permanent. He thought your love was owed. Until the day he realized you owe him nothing. Not your time, not your attention, not your softness, not your emotional labor, not your forgiveness, not your explanation. Nothing. This is where the regret begins. Not when you walk away, but when you stop waiting for him to catch up. Because a woman who moves on mentally is gone. In a way, no physical return can reverse. He notices it in the way you speak. Shorter, cooler, clearer, calmer, not angry, not emotional, not reactive, just done. Done in a way that is quiet, but final. He notices it in your silence. The silence that used to mean you were hurt. Now it means you're healing. The silence that used to mean you needed reassurance. Now it means you don't need anything from him. The silence that used to mean you were overwhelmed. Now it means you're uninterested. He notices it in your energy, how you glow more when he's not around, how you laugh genuinely without him, how you sleep better without waiting for his message, how your voice is steadier without carrying his instability, how your world feels lighter now that his weight is no longer on your heart. A man always feels it when he's no longer the center of a woman's suffering. He feels the cold where your warmth used to be. He feels the emptiness where your support used to be. He feels the distance where your devotion used to be. He feels the consequences where your forgiveness used to protect him. And then it hits him. You're not the same woman he once knew. You're wiser, stronger, calmer, sharper, more self-aware, more self-respecting. You're a woman who knows her value. And a woman who knows her value doesn't entertain someone who treated her like an option. He didn't just lose access to you. He lost access to the woman you would have become with him, the memories you would have built, the softness you would have shared, the future you would have grown, the love you would have protected, the home you would have created. He lost access to the life he could have had. And now he watches from a distance as you settle into your worth, as you settle into your power, as you settle into your peace, as you settle into your healed version, as you settle into the love you always deserved. You're not angry. You're not bitter. You're not resentful. You're simply unavailable, emotionally unavailable to his chaos, energetically unavailable to his inconsistency, spiritually unavailable to his confusion, mentally unavailable to his immaturity, unavailable to the version of him that required you to abandon yourself. And now he sits with the truth. You didn't walk away to hurt him. You walked away to save yourself. And that's why he lost access. Because access to you requires maturity, consistency, clarity, accountability, respect, emotional presence, effort, growth. And he offered none of those things. So he lost you, not because you were replaceable, but because you were rare. And he wasn't ready. Rare women don't stay in places where they must dim themselves to be tolerated. Rare women don't stay attached to men who cannot rise. Rare women don't negotiate with their own hearts to make someone else comfortable. He didn't lose you. He lost access to the most loving version of you, the version that believed in him, the version that tried for him, the version that forgave him, the version that nurtured him, the version that protected him, the version that rooted for him. But that version has given her last chance. And now, your love belongs to a future where it will be honored, not drained, not ignored, not mishandled, not taken for granted. Honored. You didn't become cold. You became conscious. You didn't become hard. You became healthy. You didn't become distant. You became self-respecting. He didn't lose you. He lost the privilege of being someone you poured into. And a privilege lost doesn't get reinstated. Not when a woman has finally found herself. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she outgrows the version of herself that tolerated too much. And that moment is irreversible. You didn't just walk away. You evolved. And evolution doesn't move backward. He thought he could come back whenever he wanted. He thought you'd still be there, holding the door open. He thought time would weaken you, soften you, confuse you. But time did the opposite. Time strengthened you. Time clarified you. Time matured you. Time sharpened your intuition. Time aligned you with what you truly deserve. He never expected to meet a version of you that he couldn't reach, a version that didn't fall for the old lines, didn't collapse under nostalgia, didn't mistake history for compatibility, didn't confuse connection with alignment. He expected you'd still crave his presence. Instead, he found a woman who craves her own peace more. And that's the part he never prepared for. You learned how to live without him, how to breathe without him, how to self-soothe without him, how to trust yourself instead of seeking reassurance, how to hold your own heart without waiting for someone to protect it. You didn't become stronger because he left. You became stronger because you stopped holding on. And when a woman stops holding on, she becomes someone a man can't manipulate. He can't charm her. He can't confuse her. He can't emotionally bait her. He can't breadcrumb her. He can't pull her back into cycles she already outgrew. You became immune to the version of him that once had power over you, not because he changed, but because you did. So now, he faces the reality he avoided. He didn't lose you to another man. He lost you to the woman you became. And that woman, she no longer accepts half love. half effort, half presence, half accountability, half growth, half truths, half versions of what a man could be. He once had access to a woman who gave everything. Now he stands in front of a woman who gives selectively, intentionally, mindfully, slowly, carefully, and only to those who show up with the same energy. You don't open your heart for potential anymore. You open it for consistency. You don't reward words. You reward behavior. You don't choose people based on who they could be. You choose them based on who they are. And he knows he can't meet that standard, not because you're demanding, but because he never learned how to love deeply without taking advantage of the person who loves him. This is where regret turns into reality, when he realizes it's not about getting you back, it's about facing the version of himself that cost him you in the first place. He can't lie to himself anymore. He can't blame you. He can't blame timing. He can't blame stress. He can't blame circumstances. Because the truth is simple. He had access to a love most men search for their entire lives, and he mismanaged it. Now he sits with every moment. He dismissed your feelings. Every time, he made you question your worth. Every day, you overextended yourself just to feel close to him. Every apology he offered, without change. Every promise he broke, because he assumed you'd forgive him. He replays moments you've already healed from. He analyzes conversations you've already released. He imagines scenarios you no longer care about. He feels the weight of consequences you carried alone for far too long. And here's the knife twist. He now understands the value of what he lost, not because someone else is giving it to him, but because no one else ever will. Not in the same way, not with the same depth, not with the same devotion, not with the same softness, not with the same loyalty, not with the same emotional intelligence, not with the same intuitive care. No one will love him the way you loved him, not because he's unlovable, but because you loved in ways that can't be replicated. And when a man realizes a love like yours doesn't come back, that's when he breaks. Quietly, privately, silently. He won't show it. He won't admit it. He won't tell anyone. But he feels it every single day. He notices it when he wakes up without a message from the woman who used to check on him. He notices it when he scrolls through his phone and sees nothing from you. He notices it when he reaches for comfort and finds emptiness. He notices it when he sees you glowing in a world he no longer belongs to. He notices it when you become happier without the weight he used to place on your heart. And then the panic comes because he realizes you were never the problem. You were the blessing he wasn't prepared for. But here's the part that seals the door shut. You're no longer waiting for him to understand that. You don't need him to realize your worth. You realized it on your own. And that is the exact moment access dies. He didn't lose you. He lost the right to your tenderness, to your softness, to your loyalty, to your openness, to your devotion, to your heart, to your presence, to your future. He lost the privilege of being someone you pour into. And the moment a woman reclaims that privilege, she becomes untouchable. So this is the truth he must live with. You were not the one who slipped through his fingers. He was the one who let go of the only hand that ever held him through storms. You moved forward. You rose higher. You healed deeper. You outgrew louder. You became a woman who cannot be accessed by the man who once broke her. And that is the most powerful closure of all. Because a woman who truly evolves doesn't need revenge. Her healing is the revenge. Her peace is the revenge. Her glow is the revenge. Her happiness is the revenge. Her absence is the revenge. He didn't lose you. He lost access to the kind of woman who elevates a man's life just by being in it. And that loss is permanent. If you're rebuilding yourself, keep going. If you're reclaiming your worth, don't stop. If you're choosing peace over chaos, protect it fiercely. If you're learning how to love yourself the way you used to love others, honor that journey. And remember, you never lose. When you choose yourself, you only lose. When you keep giving access to someone who hasn't earned it, close the door. Protect your heart. Rise into your worth. Your future is waiting for you, not behind you.